So for this instalment in my series about historical clarinets, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I think is probably my favourite 18th century clarinet, the Basset Horn. As you can see, it's a pretty weird shape. It's got this massive bend in it, and it's very large. And that's because a basset horn is a big clarinet in F, so it sounds a fourth lower than a normal B-flat clarinet. And the reason it's such a funny shape is that if it was straight, my arms wouldn't be able to reach the bottom hand, so they've bent it round so it's easier to reach. Another consequence of it being very long is this part at the bottom. The bore, the inside of the instrument, goes down here, and then it comes back up in a bend, and then back out again through the bell. So they've kind of folded up the length of it to make it shorter. Otherwise, again, it would be about as long as the bell and even further. Again, it should be very, very long. The basset horn became a very popular instrument in the second half of the 18th century, particularly the last sort of 30 years, 1770 to 1800. Roving virtuoso basset horn players would wander all around southern Germany, Bohemia, Vienna, plying their trade and playing their instruments. And it found particular favour in Vienna, where it was very popular with Mozart. Mozart wrote a lot of music for the basset horn. He obviously liked its rich sound, which I'll show you in a second. The pieces that he wrote included his Requiem. There's also sets of trios for 3 basset horns, which were probably written for sort of Masonic events. And he also wrote obligatos in his operas, featuring basset horn as well. The basset horn continued to be written for into the 19th century. There's music by Beethoven, but it actually fell out of favour, and there isn't a great deal from the mid-19th century until Richard Strauss started to include it in some of his operas and his wind pieces towards the end of the 19th century into the 20th century. A modern basset horn actually looks a lot like a small bass clarinet, so it's black. It has the same form as a bass clarinet. What's lovely about the basset horn is it has a very large range. Unlike a clarinet, it doesn't stop at a written E, it goes down to a C. So it's got this extended part to give it extra notes. And it has a very clear voice at the top, and it has a very rich voice at the bottom. One of the most beautiful things written for the basset horn is an obbligato aria from Mozart's last opera, La Clemenza di Tito. The aria is called Non più di fiori, or No More Flowers. And it has a part for obbligato basset horn accompanying the voice all the way through, which uses the full range of the instrument. Here's a little excerpt. This basset horn's made of boxwood, like the other clarinets I've showed you, and it's got this lovely red stain. And it's actually got the same key system as the 5-key clarinet in one of my other videos. So it just has your 5 keys, 2 at the top, 2 on the left, and another key here. All the other keys are to help you reach the lower notes. So if I turn it round, we've got some thumb keys on the back for low D, low E flat, and low C. And because on the basset horn, the C, which is a hole on a 5-key clarinet, would be too far away, there's actually a key for that as well. But it's still a very simple system, but this is enough to play all the music by Mozart and Beethoven. You don't need any more keys than that. Mendelssohn would be a little bit more of a challenge.